Hey, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Olivia and I'm a gender affirming voice teacher. And today I'm going to be sharing 3 reasons why you should be using SOVT exercises if you are working on vocal feminization or vocal masculinization. So let's get started. Okay, I never shut up about SOVT exercises, okay? They have been incredibly helpful for myself in my own singing practice, and they are also really helpful when I'm working with clients. So SOVT stands for semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. And these exercises mean that your mouth is partially closed. There's something kind of blocking the air from coming out of your mouth so that there's air pressure coming up from your lungs and then there's air reflected back at your vocal cords. So in general, this results in this lovely equilibrium kind of cushiony space for your vocal cords to vibrate. So that's really the most that I have described it in other videos, but today I wanted to talk a little bit more specifically about the science behind SOVTs and why specifically they're great if you are working on vocal modification, be it vocal feminization or vocal masculinization. So some other examples of SOVT exercises that you might have seen or heard about. One is a lip trill. One is a V sound. You can use a straw, or you can put a straw in a glass of water and blow bubbles in there. There are many others as well that would be considered SOVT exercises. So the first reason why we want to use SOVT exercises is because it makes the voice feel easy. So why is that? So as I mentioned, we have the air pressure coming up from your lungs through your vocal cords. When your mouth is partially closed, that air is reflected back at the vocal folds. So that way you have pressure coming from below and from above. So that increases the intraoral pressure, or the pressure inside of your mouth. The pressure coming from your lungs is called the subglottal pressure, and the pressure coming from above is called the supraglottal pressure. Now we say glottal because the space in between the vocal cords are 2 bands of tissue like this. The space in between the vocal cords that will kind of disappear when they vibrate, that is called the glottis. So when we have air pressure below, below subglottal pressure and supraglottal pressure. So the supraglottal pressure coming down, kind of balancing out that subglottal pressure, makes the vocal cords vibrate easier. The rise in the supraglottal pressure leads to a decrease in the intraglottal pressure, so in between the vocal cords, in the glottal area. So that means that it will be less impactful when the vocal cords collide. So if we have just that big mass of pressure coming up, the vocal cords might be tempted to kind of push together harder than if we have that supraglottal pressure to balance things out. So why is this specifically helpful for vocal feminization? When we're working on vocal feminization, oftentimes we're raising the pitch or we're creating a smaller space. All of these things can lead to tension that we don't really want in the voice. So if we use an SOVT exercise that increases that supraglottal pressure and that intraoral pressure, it can help to kind of let our vocal cords work a little less hard. So if we are raising our pitch and kind of straining to get to a higher pitch, using an SOVT will allow your voice to move up to a higher pitch easier because you're not pushing or you're not tensing some of those muscles. So with that decrease in the intraglottal pressure, you're going to have less impact in the vocal cords, which is just going to make that easier for you to kind of float up and down in pitch. So this can also really help if you're working on vocal masculinization. So if you are taking T or testosterone, your vocal cords are lengthening. They're going through a process of growth. And when that happens, the vocal cords can be unstable. They kind of don't remember exactly how to vibrate efficiently because they might be growing at different paces or, not fully connecting. So again, here, during this period of instability, you might be kind of pushing or squeezing or causing hyperfunction of the vocal cords, like pushing together, because you want to try and control this unstable feeling that you're having in your voice. So if you use an SOVT exercise, that can help to kind of lessen that pressure and have less impact in between your vocal cords, to kind of help balance things out. So the second reason to use SOVT exercises is because they give you a clearer tone quality. So in order to get a clear vocal quality, the vocal folds need to be coming together completely and in a really healthy way. Now, things can happen to the vocal cords that cause them to function differently. For instance, tension can be something that causes the vocal folds to vibrate differently. Nodes or lesions on the vocal cords, basically like little calluses on the vocal cords. So when that happens, we get gaps. So your vocal cords are vibrating, but maybe there's a little gap in there where air is coming through, so you get more of a breathy or raspy sound. So the benefit of an SOVT exercise is, again, that supraglottal pressure coming down actually helps to increase the kind of pressure of the vocal cords coming together and coming apart. So it actually just helps them to vibrate efficiently, coming together, pulling apart. So when we have that kind of help with the actual opening and closing, that can really help get us to a clearer vocal quality. So if you are working on vocal feminization, you might run into, again, this idea of tension. So I've worked with a lot of clients who will have tension that leads to this kind of breathy sound quality. And basically what we want to do is eliminate some of that tension and let the vocal cords really do the job that they're supposed to do, and not engage the muscles around there so much that the vocal cords kind of forget how to do their job. So if you are struggling with tension or just a raspy sound quality, or if that's just something that you don't like in your voice, if there's too much breath coming through, maybe you're lightening your vocal weight and you're doing that a little bit too much on the breathy side, and you want to have that light vocal quality but still get a clear tone, this is going to be a great exercise for you. So same thing here with vocal masculinization. If you're going through testosterone therapy, your vocal cords are growing, and so they can sometimes need some help to guide them together and pull apart in an easier way. So obviously it will lead to less impact, like I mentioned before. So just to have that help of pushing together and pulling apart with that extra supraglottal pressure is really helpful when you're going through that transition. The third reason to use SOVT exercises is because SOVTs relax your muscles. So when we get this supraglottal pressure, it actually helps to kind of relieve some of the tension in here, and the larynx can be free to lower down a little bit. In the study I read, which is linked below, they talk about they're not exactly sure, but they theorize that it could be the supraglottal pressure simply pushing down on the larynx that's causing that lowering, or it could be because the supraglottal pressure is helping to make it really easy for the vocal cords to vibrate, that the extrinsic muscles, or the muscles around the larynx that kind of help to keep it up, actually get to relax for the first time, because it actually is a little easier for the vocal cords to come together. So that would mean the larynx would be a little bit lower. Okay, so how does this apply to vocal feminization? When it comes to resonance, and you can check out some of my other videos about resonance if you're interested, but in general, we want to create a smaller vocal tract to create a brighter vocal resonance. So that means actually creating a lift in the larynx. So why am I talking about this, lowering of the larynx being helpful for vocal feminization? Well, any type of chronic tension in muscles is going to be problematic. So if you are chronically just cranking your larynx up way too high, it could become problematic for you down the road. It could lead to maybe that kind of raspy sound that we're talking about in the last section. So What we want is to have a flexible larynx. So in regular day-to-day speech, if we say different vowel sounds, if we say different things, if we say higher or lower pitches, our larynx is going to change position. So the larynx is built to move up and down. So if we're like, no, you have to stay all the way up here, that's going to be tough for those muscles. So using an SOVT exercise helps to be able to then relax those muscles so that you can have flexibility in your larynx and not feel like, ooh, it's tense, I have to stay there, and then it becomes a problem for you down the line. Now, when it comes to vocal masculinization and masculine perceived resonance, we oftentimes are going for a lower larynx. So in this case, these exercises that lower the larynx might be helpful for you. Help to relax those muscles so that you can relax that larynx down and create that larger space for a darker sound quality. So to sum up, we love an SOVT exercise, okay? SOVTs are super helpful whether you're working on vocal feminization, vocal masculinization, whether you're a singer, whatever you're up to. They help me a ton, they help my clients a ton. So definitely check them out. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to my website, sign up for a consultation, or I have a bunch of other blogs and stuff you can read, so you can check that out in the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.